Tonight, I'd like to persuade my audience to believe in that our perception of things cannot be limited to only what we can see, feel, smell, or even hear through our five common senses. The earth spins around its own axis or on its own axis, taking 24 hours, and rotates around the sun in 365 days. And even though we cannot perceive these movements or these motions through our five common senses, but yet we believe. The fact that we cannot detect that, the fact that our senses are not engaged in understanding or in perceiving certain things, does not mean they don't exist. Apostle Paul, the writer of a letter to the people in Corinth, wrote these words: "For we walk by faith, not by sight." In 2 Corinthians 5, verse number 7. Now, modern science has tried to uncover many things that early man and even present man didn't know they exist. They existed because we depended on our own five common senses. I have no intention to preach to you tonight or convert you into any kind of philosophy. My goal tonight is to persuade you to believe that you are designed with ability to perceive the world around you in spite of your common senses. I have divided my presentation to you into two major parts: the spin of the earth on its own axis, 24 hours, and the movement of the earth around the sun, 365 days. Science tells us that the earth spins on its own axis in an easterly direction, such that a point A will rotate, take 24 hours to rotate or to spin a complete one circle. 24 hours. The distance along the equator divided by the time it takes for that particular particle, or for you and me on the equator, gives a speed of 1,037 miles per hour. Now, how does that movement affect us in our daily lives? Maybe you will say, we have a day, we have a night, we have winds, and all these other things that happen as the earth rotates or spins on its own axis. How does that affect? Now, let me spin this question. What would happen to you if the earth suddenly stopped and did not spin on its axis? I'll let you think about that question and answer it at your own time. Science also tells us that the earth rotates around the sun along an orbit, a path called the orbit, just like all the rest of the planets. There are 9 of them, and each of them rotate around the sun, this being a portion of the surface of the sun, and this being the orbits. Our Earth is the third orbit from the sun, surface of the sun, Mercury being the first one, and it takes 365 days for our Earth to rotate around the sun. The distance it covers around the sun, divided by that time of 365 days it takes to revolve, results in a speed of 66,660 miles per hour. How does that affect our daily lives? Again, and let me even spin that. Suppose the earth took off on a tangent into the space. What would happen, and how long would it take to happen to us as human beings? I've told you how the earth spins on its axis in 24 hours and revolves around the sun in 365 days. And even though we cannot perceive that through our five common senses, still we believe that's to be true. In conclusion, our understanding based on the five common senses is limited. And to prove that, we use the spin of the earth on its own axis. We used the revolution of the earth around the sun to show that every second in our life there is a motion, there is a movement across the space. And yet we cannot detect this. We cannot sense that. There are many things in life we believe to exist, yet we cannot prove. There is no way we can prove them. That is because as human beings, we are wired to operate in another realm called faith. And by faith, we are able to detect them. We know they are there. For example, when you say, I love you, you cannot prove that. That is an experience beyond common sense. An unknown author wrote to the Hebrews these words. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.